We used to work more with asylum seekers. That really was insightful. Young people who had been whipped, and beaten. Those stories are sad, but sad on a massive human level. When was the last time you saw your parents? Let's say 3 years ago. I used to go home and say to my young kids, "Do you realise how lucky you are?" I'm thinking, well, of course they don't, because they've not been in that situation. Because we have an ageing population. When people trip and fall, they lose their confidence. We can teach people to live well, walk well. We're building strength, we're building stamina. And above all, we're building confidence. Levels of anxiety and depression that are going through the roof.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
That's where I see the meditation helping. People say, I can't sit still. I can't stop my mind from talking all the time. Well, come along and try it. I guide you. The chair yoga's got so much to offer. I think the hardest part is probably coming through the door.
Welcome to Local Voice Collective, the podcast that brings Bedford's voices together. It's your chance to discover the most exciting local projects, connect with entrepreneurs, change makers, coaches, artists, consultants, and influential local people. And ultimately be part of a community that really supports and inspires each other. I'm your host, Andrew Gabriel. And finally, if you live or work in Bedford and have an interesting story, be my guest. I would be absolutely delighted to have you on the show. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
To the show. Local Voice Collective, Bedford's Voices.
Yes.
You're from Bedford, right?
Born and bred.
Okay.
Born and bred.
You grew up here?
Yeah, and then went away and vowed never to come back, and that didn't work out, did it?
How are you today?
How am I today? Achy because I've had a massage. So, just a little bit sore. I went for a walk before I came here, so I feel quite grounded and centered, and then scoffed some food down and went, my time, where's it gone? Where does it go when it's not round here? Time blindness a little bit. I think I've got loads of time, and then I end up having very little time.
Yeah.
The best laid plans of mice and men, as they say.
Are you a morning person or evening person?
I'm trying not to be an evening person. I'm trying to be a morning person. I can get up and go to work. I can do that. But if I'm not careful, I'm more creative at night.
You're more creative?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think I am.
Okay.
But I'm trying to be a little bit more the other way. It really depends how much coffee I've had, how much sleep I've had.
Yeah.
Whether I've done a little bit of yoga in the morning and a little bit of meditation. And then I kind of think, I'm ready for the day.
Yeah.
But
I'm an evening one.
Yes, I can tell.
You could tell?
Yeah, you're just sprightly. Do you drink, copious amounts of coffee?
Yeah.
To stay awake? You look like a coffee drinker.
Yeah, I wake up at 6 and I just drink coffee like mad.
Intravenously,
one
if we
espresso
could.
just to hit the baseline, and then one more just to be slightly above.
And try not to be too...
Mornings are not easy.
No.
Evenings are much better. So
it's funny that, isn't it?
My highest point starts at 9 o'clock.
PM.
And that's my peak that's my peak time, between 9 and midnight.
And that's
when I went to uni, I always did my exams between 9 p.m. and midnight.
You actually specifically know that was your creative sort of slot, so you did that. Wow. Yeah.
I don't know why.
No, it's just the way you're made. And that's okay.
Yeah. So what do you do?
In my day job or in my other bit of...
Let me ask a bit differently. How do you spend most of your time?
Dreaming.
Dreaming?
Daydreaming, because I know it's very good for you.
And night dreaming.
Well, in daydreaming, that's often when your messages come through, I find.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we daydream enough. I think we should daydream more. But I think social media and media, often we don't. As a child, I feel because I wasn't around social media, I daydreamed a lot more. Now I don't know whether kids do. But that's beside, the point.
Yeah.
Twice a week I have to be conformed to work, but it gives me the freedom of Monday, Wednesday and Friday to do the things I'm passionate about. But I am quite passionate about my job. I work in a children's home and quite like the naughty kids, and I work with the naughty kids, and I was a bit naughty, and I kind of like that because they're creative, and often when you look at them, there's just a lot of pain there, a lot of rejection from
What
when they
age
were
group?
young. Well, we can have them as young as 14 right up to 18.
14, 18.
Yeah. Currently, we've got 16 to 18-year-olds, which is a weird dichotomy because the 18-year-old wants to do adult things and the 16-year-olds don't. And it's trying to keep everybody happy. But it's interesting. It's interesting. And I used to work more with asylum seekers who were fled from mostly sort of places like Libya. And that really was insightful to see
Well, it sounds
young...
very meaningful.
Yeah, well, just to work with young people who had been whipped, and beaten and come over in perilous conditions just to get here. And it was mostly young men, but we had some young girls as well. Yeah, and, their stories are sad, but sad on a massive human level, the things that are going on sort of in the countries that they come from, like Sudan. Even now, you probably know, Red Cross aren't even going into Sudan. It's so bad.
Yeah.
And there is a massive famine. So these young people, you would sit down and we work with the Red Cross and you would say things like, when was the last time you saw your parents? I'd say 3 years ago. When did you last speak to them? Well, we haven't got internet there, so it was last year.
Oh.
And that's tough at 15 and 16. And maybe still you've got family there.
Yeah.
And you just... So I can't envisage what that must be like. They were just grateful for everything, and they still are. And some are still here and working. Some have got apprenticeships. Some have gone on to get jobs. Some are still in education. So I used to go home and say to my own kids, do you realise how lucky you are? And thinking, well, of course they don't, because they've not been in that situation.
They don't have the reference point.
Quite. And
to compare to
Yeah.
something else. Yeah. We always need a reference point to realize how fortunate we are.
Yes. It's easy to forget.
Have you always worked with people?
Yeah, I like people. I do like people. The quirkier, the better, actually. And I always remember my counsellor saying, because you're curious, and you have to be curious about people if you want to kind of help them, I think.
Yeah. So just to recap, you work with asylum seekers, you work with children as well, and you also do something slightly different, which is very interesting.
Yes.
Could you tell me a little bit more about
that
side? Yeah.
Yeah. So on Mondays and Wednesdays, when I'm not supporting young people, I teach chair yoga in the community for anybody of any age who may not be able to get
chair
down on
yoga.
Yeah.
Which is different to
mat-based yoga, which would be maybe on a mat.
I'm so ignorant when it comes to yoga.
No. So if you were able to and flexible, you would have a mat and you would work on the mat, off the mat, come up from the mat, go back down. But if you're not able to do that for whatever reason, then maybe you just need a chair. And I call armchair warriors because that's what they are. They're amazing. And I like working with the older people. So that's the other spectrum. I work with children, but I love what the elderly can bring, or the seniors, because their stories are very rich and they're very humble very often. So, yes, it's about moving and moving well as you get older. And it's become a real community. We meet, we have coffees, we have Christmas parties. And it's just, as I get older now in my 50s, and I can't do maybe the strong yoga either, I'm finding I get a little bit bored of the ordinary yoga. But the chair yoga's got so much to offer. And I can just twist in a chair. I can raise my arms and I can take a leg out and I can swim in a chair and work all my major joints. So it's really interesting. And I think with an ageing population, it's lovely to see people coming together. Because we have an ageing population, which no government seems to really want to deal with. What are we going to do? And people tend to go, I can't do that. So, for example, one of the main exercises you might do is just get up of a chair and sit in a chair.
Okay.
And maybe just folding your arms. But if I can't do it because this is in the way, but if I was going to get up and go down, I'd be using every major and minor muscle group in my body. But we don't teach that. And I used to work in the falls team for the NHS where people were tripping and falling. So, for example, as soon as I came in, I thought, oh, the rug's a trip hazard. But that's only because it's in my head. And you're not elderly, so it's fine. But it's something we would say that needs to be taped down. So when people trip and fall, they lose their confidence. So how can we say that you could do everything in a chair and gain that confidence again and bring it back, but also bring the community together?
gain the
Make
confidence to stand up again and walk again.
Yeah,
To get back to
exactly.
normal activities.
Yeah, because you've seen the state of pavements.
Yeah.
You've seen many, many people, I'm sure, with, little kind of like wheelchairs and stuff like that. And that holding on, you see the fear in some people's faces, holding on, gripping onto buildings. How did that happen? How did they get like that? So if we can teach people to live well, walk well, stand behind a chair, stand on one leg, we're building strength, we're building stamina. And above all, we're building confidence.
And it's kind of starting slow and then
Very slow.
building it up gradually.
Yeah, and we might march on the spot like this for 2 minutes. You start to really feel your heart.
Okay.
It's really lovely. And then I also do bi-monthly meditation, and that's for anybody. You're going to come to one of those, aren't you? Because you've been invited.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
To just, a lot of people find it difficult just to switch off. A lot of people say, my mind's always going. It's like a narration running next to me all the time with that perpetual to-do list. I just want to keep my mind quiet.
So it's something completely different to chair yoga?
Yes, I'm a meditation teacher as well.
Okay.
And I like to teach it. But I like to teach it as if people had never done it before, because I think it's quite overwhelming. People say, I can't sit still. I can't stop my mind from talking all the time. Well, come along and try it. I guide you. We do breath-based relaxation, because that's fundamentally the first part. If we can focus on the breath, we bring the whole autoimmune system down. Then I guide you. How do we do that? We use mudras, which are gestures with the hand, but they're also ways of sort of locking. So, for example, if you brought your thumb and your your ring finger together, that's basically called the Earth Mudra. It's also known as a triple warmer. So it warms the whole body, the whole body. And it's also something to do with your hands. As you're kind of, Rachel's talking to you, well, what am I doing? I'm fiddling. But here, I'm grounded, I'm centered. You just rest your hands on your legs.
I'm always fidgeting when talking and when doing anything.
Good
It's kind of
a
bad habit, or I don't know where it's coming from.
and you've got an inquiring mind, so it's always busy, And we learn how to breathe well again, because most people don't breathe efficiently. We don't use our lungs, the capacity that we've got in these lungs. So we learn to breathe. And we are small groups of just 8 people.
So you actually teach these things to people?
Yeah, they come to the studio.
So is it a group?
It's I advertise it on, obviously, my Facebook page, and I also advertise it on my friend who I hire the studio. So she has a studio like you do, and she teaches Reiki, and that's where we also do the other things as well. And you'll meet her. Her name's Laura Whitmore, a very good friend of mine, and she has a business. She says she was born to teach Reiki, but she also has open circle nights, which are for people who want to develop their clairvoyant skills and open up big mind a bit more. We're like-minded people who are quite spiritual.
So you basically have a team behind you, right?
Oh, that sounds glamorous, doesn't it? Like-minded team, yes. Yeah, we come together as a community. I want to be, if in an ideal world, if money were no object, I'd like to offer it all for free. But that's not the reality. So I say to everybody who comes to the chair yoga, never pay. Don't pay for the first one. And if you like it, if this suits you, then you pay the next time. But also if people...
Oh, that's very lovely.
I think that's how it's good, isn't it? Yeah, it's how it should be. I mean, we all have to make a living. Of course we do. I don't doubt that. I'm not that naive. But I think it's about, if someone hasn't got very much money, then we make it affordable. So the meditation is £10 for an hour and a half / 2 hours. I think that's quite affordable. The chair yoga is just £8 for a good hour. And the mat-based yoga is £10 for an hour and a half. I want to make it affordable.
I think we need more such initiatives and more people like you who actually
thank you.
Keeping in mind the needs of elderly people in the community as well.
And in some countries like Holland, I was privileged to live in Holland for a little while. If somebody needed, say, this sort of chair-based yoga to recover from something, it ran alongside the NHS as a complementary therapy. And I've sort of tried to get in touch and reach out to the NHS, but they have their own stuff and they're not prepared to sort of do it. But you imagine just being able to offer somebody 10 sessions, chair-based yoga, to learn to walk again or to rebuild maybe leg muscles or confidence.
Yeah.
I think we would save the NHS a lot of money. And the levels of anxiety and depression that are going through the roof.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
That's where I see the meditation helping. We always chat afterwards. And surely that's good, just coming together. Because it's really easy to say no to things.
Because it's tied together, isn't it? The physical health and mental health.
Yeah.
If you lose confidence in your physical health, your mental health might suffer as well.
People say, how are you? Oh, I'm okay. But actually it's, how are you? What, on a physical, mental and emotional level?
Yeah.
And it's really nice when people say, I feel crap. I'm really low today. And then we go, oh, we weren't expecting that answer. But yeah, it's like a big jigsaw, the body, isn't it? And the mind, it's important, I think, to come out of the head and back into the body as well. That's super important. Otherwise, this just takes over and this poor thing has to just follow suit.
Yeah.
And the mind's a massive computer, isn't it? It's the biggest thing that we own in terms of thought, emotions.
People used to say there are more connections in the brain than stars in the Milky Way or something similar.
Wow.
Which is quite interesting.
Quite mind-blowing, yeah.
So how many people are in those groups?
They only allow 8 in the meditation because I like to keep it small and intimate. When I first started, I thought, I've got to make some money. And I got a little bit kind of like money orientated because I was paying my friend a very reasonable rate, but renting her studio. And obviously that came as a fee and that was fine. So I crammed in loads of people. And then I realized that by cramming people in, that it changed the essence of what I was trying to do. Mm-hmm. Everybody was too much like this. We call it in England, cheek by jowl, where you're just like, and nobody could then relax. If you can't relax, how are you going to enjoy meditation?
Well, there's the whole point.
Yeah. So it defeated the object. So I thought, cut it off at 8. And then myself, the facilitator, my friend Laura, who I rent the space out. So we have 10 in total. And it just works very well. There's always a theme. So, for example, September is the harvest in many countries. So it was about harvesting and harnessing our energies. It was also about stillness and about balance. And now for October, it's about dropping the sword, dropping when you feel angry. How can I drop that? When you feel revengeful, how can you drop that? And gratitude. So those are the things we'll focus on. What are you grateful for? Do you keep a journal, a gratitude journal? Well, I woke up this morning and I had a coffee and I could smell the coffee and the birds were singing. And I was glad just to feel that. Small thing.
So you have a central theme for each season, or is it each month?
I make that up. I make up the themes.
Okay.
Because I like to make a theme for the season. And sometimes we stand outside and look at the moon. Yeah, I'm a bit of a hippie, I'm going to be honest. You know?
That's amazing. I love hippies.
Yeah, and also someone said to me, Racheall, you're a hippie. And I took umbrage to that when I was younger. Now as I get older, I say, that's a compliment. What's the thing you remember about hippies? Peace and love?
Yeah.
Isn't it, in essence, what we
solidarity,
really... Could we do with a bit more of
belonging,
that? Yeah, and being kind to one another.
Kindness, yeah.
Yeah. That's not a bad trait. So if I go and someone says, you are a hippie, I'm thank you. I can be called many things, but that's rather nice. Thank you. So
absolutely. So how did it all start?
How did it all start?
Was it difficult to just set up these things? And
I think I've always been sort of connected spiritually to something, if you're going to say about a hippie, from an early age. But when I was pregnant with both my children, I did a lot of yoga and breath work. But I was 10 years older than all the other ladies in what's called the NCT, which is the National Childbirth Trust. So I was like 32 when I had my daughter and then 33 when I had my son. That was quite old. Now it's not considered old. People are having children a lot later.
Yeah.
But then that was like, that's quite old. And I did a lot of breathing and relaxation. I loved yoga. It just clicked with me. I went to a few teachers. I shopped around. I trained in Oxford with Martin Vermasse, who was a Dutch teacher, and learned a lot from that. But when I came to have my children, and bearing in mind I was 10 years older, I was the only one to have a natural birth. They all had cesareans.
Oh.
And I put it down to the power of yoga and breath work. And I think then I just went...
So it did work.
Wow, for me, this is powerful. I want to share this. And that was my journey. And then I had my own business. I've had my own business before. And then my children decided to go to university. I got less money. And the pandemic came. And I lost most of the work because from the council, I worked for the sports development unit. So I set up something called Breaking the Stigma, which was trying to break down the stigmas of mental health. by
Oh,
doing
wow.
yoga
Okay.
and other things, and something called Young Minds Yoga. So I used to go into schools and also work trying to get young people from the age of 14 who weren't going to school to do breath-based relaxation and yoga. Children, young people who self-harmed, I would work with them. But the pandemic came, I hate to say, and that work went. And I went online and I loved it. I love being in front of a camera. I love chatting, as you know.
That's
So
good.
I really love it. Why I want to do radio work. But when the children went, my children went, I had to get a proper job. That when I came back, we all emerged from the pandemic, there wasn't the work. The council lost a lot of their funding and I needed a proper job, unfortunately.
So that was in 2020.
Yeah. And I kind of couldn't do as much yoga. I just didn't have the funds. So my business sort of went a little bit, it's going to have to be a hobby because, like yourself, I need something to pay the bills. So I'm gradually trying to build this up again. It was my passion, but unfortunately...
So it's quite recent.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
you started about 4 years ago?
I must have trained as a meditation teacher, about 10 years ago. I was looking back because I studied with the British School of Yoga.
Could you
British
tell me a bit more
Wheel.
about that? Was it in
Meditation.
Bedford?
In London with
In London.
a lady called Swami Satyananda, who I didn't get on with her. I really kind of clashed. I thought, she's this, she's that. But having done it and a few years on, her teaching was good. It was me, it was my ego. That was the problem. So I look back and she signed my book and I use the book of meditation now. But I want to do a lot more. I'm not sure if I've never been to India. I'm not sure if I want to go to India, but I kind of want to do some more traveling. I feel now in my 50s, I've still got so much to learn.
Yeah.
I've only just started, really.
And you've got so much passion, so much energy. It's showing. It's really
Does
showing.
it? I know you said to me, be a little bit more heightened because the energy needs to come through. But I think I just love talking. I love talking, and you're
It's
very
brilliant.
very
and
relaxed.
You set up an organization. You set up groups and meditation and chair yoga, and you do things for the community. And you also have your day job. It can be quite demanding. So
very much so. You would agree with that.
congratulations.
Yes,
Everything you do.
yes. I think it just makes me, you know how our jobs make us grounded because they're jobs that are good. They do something. We help people and that feels good. But the passion is the helping people to overcome anxiety, to maybe come to a class. For example, I've got one lady in my chair yoga today, Ursula. She was a ballet dancer and she's terribly well spoken like this. She's lovely, darling.
Oh, okay.
And she's very small and she's 95 and she lives on her own and she's amazing. So her daughter is like older than me. Her daughter's like 66 and one in the States. But her attitude is marvellous. And then I had her friend come today who's only just had some spinal work, so she's probably in her late 80s. But she wants to come even though she's unwell. So to see these people come and get so much out of it, and they all have a little chat with each other. And I'm going to say, should we book a restaurant for Christmas or go for coffee? Because that's what it's about, that cohesion. It's that coming together. And don't forget, if you're not around, are you, this Friday coming? You're working. We're doing our well-being event that I also run, which is once a month at Brick Hill Community Centre.
Oh, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I live nearby.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So there will be Reiki, hand and arm massage. There will be chair massage, which I had today, where you sit in a chair. You'd like that. That would be really good for you. And it's free.
My posture is terrible.
Well, I think when we sit for a long periods of time, we get text neck and we get these shoulders that come in.
The C-shaped human.
Oh,
that's what they
it's
call
dreadful, yes. And this apparently, osteopaths are seeing something called text neck, where we're like that. So our neck is changing, as is apparently sort of like the dexterity in the fingers from texting. And we all know about carpal tunnel, which is carpal tunnel syndrome, which is sort of like internally here. It wears away from years of that.
Texting, yeah.
So it's crazy.
So what kind of people are you expecting did you say next Saturday? No, next Friday, sorry.
So this Friday coming.
This Friday.
Anybody can turn up. We tend to get mostly ladies who have retired. We're trying to get some guys, so it'd be good if you come. You can book a session or you can just turn up and have Reiki. It's basically for anybody who just likes to come together in the community. So we've got an agreement with Brick Hill where we come along. There are therapists there For £6, you could have 20 minutes on your shoulder, or for £12, you can have 20 minutes,
Okay.
10 minutes. Maybe just have your hand massaged. How good would that be if you're using your hands? What about sitting in a chair and just having your back pummeled a little bit, or having some energy through Reiki?
Hmm.
But the idea, again, always affordable. £6 for 10 minutes, I think £20 minutes is £12. But
Do you need to
again,
be mobile to come, or
you could get a taxi there.
taxi?
You can just turn
You can
up
come
on
with a
foot.
wheelchair, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it.
And
It's all downstairs.
what is Reiki, just in case somebody...
Is interested. Universal energy. It's a little bit like me and my friend, and you can see me moving my hands. It's kind of like radio airwaves. And I have been attuned to give people Reiki. So Yusui was the master, helped Japanese and Chinese soldiers to heal themselves. When you hurt yourself as a child, maybe your mother or sister would go, it's fine. The first thing we
Yeah.
do is use our hands. All the healing is here. So when I rub my hands and I do the symbols, there are certain symbols, then it comes through. Anybody can be attuned, and then you tune in and you just go to where you feel the person needs it, obviously in a dignified fashion. So my friend and I both put a blanket over someone. She does dry body brushing, where if you had a blanket on, she would work down the body. Obviously, we always ask, are you okay with touch? Not everybody is, and one must respect that. And then we would go to the areas that we felt drawn to, that needed the healing. People are left feeling calm, centered, and very relaxed. Come along, you may enjoy it.
Could you share me one of your stories that was very meaningful to you, when you kind of felt like, this is the reason why I'm doing this? And just in case, some people might be skeptical of yoga, or
chair yoga or
some
meditation.
people who grew up in a Western kind of society might not be knowledgeable about, even about these technical terms like Reiki or yoga, and then just don't have the knowledge.
Oh gosh, that's quite difficult over the years to just think of one particular. I used to have a lady come who's passed away now, but she would come to yoga and do a little bit, but never really engage with anybody. She was a small Italian lady. And I used to say, how are you feeling? How is that? And she's like, fine, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. She was kind of like quite formidable. And she used to come and I used to think, well, what are you getting out of it? Because you end up doing your own thing. You don't really listen to me. You do a little bit, then you stop. You do a little bit, and you stop. And she didn't really like to talk. She was quite grumpy, And I used to think, really, I don't know why she's coming. Why is she paying me? Because she's not really doing my stuff. She's just there in the corner doing her own things. And I bumped into her son sometime later when she got too poorly to come. And he said, Mum absolutely loves coming to your yoga. And I said, she doesn't do a lot. I kind of didn't go into detail. I didn't want to sort of say too much, but I said, oh, I'm quite surprised. She doesn't really do very much. And when she does come, she kind of ends up doing her own thing. He said, she just loves coming and being in the energy. And it stops her thinking about how poorly she is for that hour. And that blew me away, because I wasn't seeing that, but that's what she was feeling by coming. And unfortunately, she's passed away now. But it just goes to show. And my ex-sister-in-law became a yoga teacher, and she said, you did help me. You were very passionate about it. I had another friend who used to come who'd been through a bad divorce, a really bad psychological divorce. And I could see she had no confidence at the beginning. Even towards the end, always a very shy, quiet person. And yet we were a day apart. So there's me, flamboyant, quite confident. And yet this lady was one day apart. And I thought we'd be quite similar, But we were very different. She's now moved to Cheltenham. She's found somebody she's very in love with. They're living together. And she's a yoga teacher. And that is, again,
Wow.
You think, wow, maybe you had a little part in that without sounding big-headed. Who knows? But, and you know what? Some of the kids I helped, some of the young people who were self-harming and didn't go to university because they couldn't. Yeah, it's a big thing. And I remember one girl in particular just bumping into her in Superdrug, and she went, Racheall, and then told me she was at uni, and it was like, oh. And she'd been self-harming, and she didn't do well in her exams, and she had to go back. But I don't know if you can get me, but sometimes you can see people. And I think sometimes you can really see people when others can't.
I think there are multiple benefits to it. It's
Yeah.
not just the actual yoga, the actual exercise, but it's also the community. It's also being around people, seeing people,
Who
engaging.
maybe are like-minded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe just engaging with yourself, like doing things and
Coming
just
out of
being
your
busy.
head.
Yeah,
Back
exactly.
into your body again.
Some people live inside their own heads, including myself.
Oh.
Do you suffer from overthinking?
All the time.
All the time.
I'm thinking
Oh,
about
you're a
thinking.
daydreamer.
Yeah. I do overthink. I overanalyze ridiculous amounts. No wonder my brain hurts most of the time.
And when you do yoga, you do the same thing or not?
No,
Not really.
no. I come out of my head and I go
So
back
you
into my
manage
body.
to just switch
Yeah.
off. Does it work?
Over the years, if I can do half an hour yoga and then sit and meditate for 15 minutes, my head might be going, do this, do that, bing, bing, bong, bong. But somehow afterwards, there is a tiny little sense, even if it's gone really badly, that meditation, of a more peaceful, centered me. And that may just carry me well through the day. So I may just cope a little bit better rather than be so reactionary in something. I'll stop and I'll just, yeah, it's powerful.
How is it different? I mean, life in general, when you're not doing any meditation and yoga and when you're doing it, do you actually feel a difference? And
I do.
What is the
I'm
difference?
more calm. I'm more centered.
Mm-hmm.
I react less quickly. I may just my personal sort of energy feels, rather than wah, it's just more even. It's hard to put it in, it's hard to quantify into words how I feel. But right now I feel very centered and relaxed, and I did a little meditation and walk. Had I not done that, I might have been a bit more zappy, you know? Might have been Velcroed to the ceiling. I just feel better in myself. And I think it's very individualistic, you know? What I feel isn't necessarily what you'll feel or she'll feel or something. I always say to people, well, come along and try it.
What is next for you? What's coming up? Any plans, goals? Any other group that you might want to start? Any other course? You mentioned something about counseling as well.
Yeah, I'd like to do my counseling. I'd like to do my level 4. I'm curious about people. I'd like to do that, but it's a lot, you know. There was an interesting article in The Guardian a couple of weeks ago that said that so many people are going privately into counselling because the NHS talking therapies, I worked for them as well for a little while, so they can offer you between 6 and 8 sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And then what? You start to dig it and it gets hard, and then you have to go back to your doctor, get another referral and go back for another 8. So it's a little bit like getting plasters and sticking them on the cracks.
Yeah.
So counselling is now, apparently so many people are going that they've put the prices up. So anywhere between £60 and £80 an hour. It's a lot of money. But that's not why I want to do it. I want to do it because, again, in my mind, I'd like to offer counselling at a reduced rate.
Oh, it's community centered.
Yeah.
Same as your actual activities.
I mean, you have to live. One has to live. And everything is expensive now.
They're so amazing, honestly.
But wouldn't it be nice to be able to say, you know what? I'm going to charge half of my clients that rate, but then I'm going to give 4 or 2 maybe a week for free.
Could you
24 hours.
clarify, just in case somebody's not knowledgeable, what is counseling and what's the difference between counseling and psychotherapy?
Oh, well, psychotherapy is a form of counselling. It is a form of counselling, I believe. Some people do psychodynamic counselling. So it all comes under one umbrella of counselling. But who their train of thought might have been, they may have gone psychodynamic or psychoanalytical. That's the sort of path of the counsellor.
Okay, so multiple branches, multiple...
Yes, indeed, yeah.
School of thought.
Yeah, so some counsellors may just sit there and say nothing, and you do all the talking anyway, but then they just wait for the reaction. Others are more involved and will maybe probe the client a little bit more. So tell me what happens, what is the reaction when you feel X, Y, and Z? Whereas another counsellor might just sit there and let you just say it all and say, well, why aren't you talking to me? Well, because I'm the counsellor and I just sit and... So there's many different approaches, you know. the article, just going back to the article in The Guardian, saying people are so mentally unwell that they're going to counsellors, but there aren't enough counsellors because the counsellors have so many people on their books that they've put these prices up. So that, I think, tells you the state of the nation a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's sad. And I guess that's not just England. I think that's probably in a lot of the Western world. And this is where, for me, and I can only talk about myself, meditation feels like a form of counselling. Because
it can be.
It can be a moment where I say, I'm going to just look after me. I'm not going to be selfish, or maybe I am going to be selfish, and I'm going to sit here quietly, and I'm going to breathe, and I'm going to see if I can just be, even if that's excruciating for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Can I just try it?
Yeah, because I guess the whole purpose of the counseling is to put your experience out there, just get feedback, just reflect back on it. And when you kind of sit with yourself, you kind of have the opportunity to reflect on your experiences and learn from them, even without anybody being present.
And remember,
is that correct?
Yeah, and also, for example, if I'm upset and I come and see you and you're my friend, you're going to really tell me probably what I want to hear because you're my friend. And because you care about me, you're going to say, don't worry, Racheall. Yes, Racheall, I understand. That's terrible, Racheall. If I go to see a counsellor, the counsellor's going to be impartial. They don't know me. They have no relationship with me.
Yeah.
And that's the impartiality that you need.
It can be guidance, it can be tough love sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would be your number one message for anybody who's listening to this podcast and might be sitting at home in Bedford or not in Bedford and might be struggling, losing confidence because of mobility issues, because of mental health issues, physical health issues, any kind of problems, because you kind of work with these kind of people and these kind of conditions all the time, and you have tremendous amount of knowledge and experience, and you might have the knowledge to just give some very valuable advice for these people. So what would it be?
Don't be afraid. Come along. Give me a call. Drop me an email. I think the hardest part is probably coming through the door.
The first step.
Yeah, the first step. Yeah. And it sounds a bit of a cliche, but you're not alone because everybody had to come first time. And they'd be most welcome. And I think that's the thing. I'm not going to ask for any money. The only investment is with yourself. Just turn up. And if you don't like it, then you've not lost anything. But come and try it. Because my style might not be your style. And that's fine. You may find somebody else. But come along. Give it a go. Nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
I think it's, again, I go back, it's easy to say no to things. It's really easy to say no to things. But by saying yes, you may open a whole new world of companionship and just getting stronger and building confidence. Because we can lose that really quickly. Any age, can't we? You know, having knockbacks, setbacks.
And being part of a community.
Yes.
It's also very important.
And we talk a lot about community. There's still an awful lot of isolated, lonely people. And I really appreciate that things are very tough for a lot of people. The disparity between the haves and the have-nots has never been wider since about the 1930s in England.
Yeah.
You know, we're seeing things like cases of rickets in children again because of deficiencies and not being fed. Children not sleeping on mattresses.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, poverty's hidden. One doesn't see it, but there's a lot of poverty. And I think, you know, we're living, particularly in England, where inflation's high, food prices are high. So if I can keep my, you know, somebody came back to the yoga and went, is it still just £10, you know, which was nice. And I said, yeah, it's been £10 for 2 years and it'll stay £10 for another 2 because that means you can come.
Yeah.
So that's what matters.
Getting better, getting your confidence back, being part of a community.
Yeah, and keeping it affordable.
Yeah, and all thanks to you.
Well, if they didn't come, I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You know, couldn't do it without them. Couldn't do it without them.
Needs 2 people, at least.
Yeah, yes. 2 people to pay the rent, and that's it. And anything else is a bonus.
Thank you very much for coming, Racheall.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's a real pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
And wish the best.
Yeah.
Wish the best for you.
Yeah, thank you. All the best for you as well. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Enjoy your flowering cactus. Many buds, because you have many opportunities.
Okay.
That's my symbol. That's my...
Okay.
Yeah, and take the plastic off.
Show this to the camera. I got this from Racheall.
Ah. Isn't that a work of art? Just look at that.
It is.
If even the beauty of that. Look at the intricacy of the budding one.
The art of nature.
It's stunning, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have said that 10 years ago, 20. I'd have been too busy whizzing past. But yeah. And there's instructions on the back as well. I have watered it a little bit. It's drunk it all up. Drunk it all up. Is that right? Isn't it stunning? Because it looks like they're going to...